You got to be honest about the role that they may have, because if you don't, it's going to come back to bite you.
Like, it just means something. It was that moment that I knew, wow, Coach Lynch, incredible guy.
My grandpa's greatest strength, being interested rather than trying to be interesting.
As you look back and think about a 50-plus year coaching career, what are some of the most special moments for you from that time? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spengel, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. Every child deserves to wake up and feel the magic of Christmas morning. With your help, we can ensure that every family in the Salvation Army's Angel Tree program doesn't have to worry about providing gifts to their kids. It's super easy. Go on the Salvation Army's website, look at the Angel Tree program. You can filter it by age, gender, what the kids are looking for. For right around $100, you can provide Christmas for a local child in our community. The team at Get Indiana is sponsoring 2 kids. We're buying a bike for one of them. We're buying an RC car for another. We're going to spend just over $100 on each of these kids, and we're going to help make an impact in our local community. These families in our local community need our help. You go on the Salvation Army's website, look for the Angel Tree program. For around $100, you can help make sure that children in Indiana have the magic of Christmas underneath their tree. My guest today is a very special one. Coach Bill Lynch is a longtime Indiana-based football coach who served as the head coach at Butler from 85 to 89, Ball State from 95 to 02, Indiana University from 07 to 2010, before returning to lead DePauw's program until his retirement in 2019. He's a member of the Indiana Football Hall of Fame. His reputation extends far beyond wins and losses. He's known for mentorship, humility, and shaping the future generations of athletes and coaches across the Midwest. I'm also joined by a great friend of mine, Lexie Manor, who is Coach Lynch's granddaughter. She's also a DePauw alum. Shout out to the Tigers. She produces the Words of the Wise podcast, a podcast that captures the stories and life lessons of the older generations, including her very first interview with her great-grandpa, Dick Lux, who served as Butler's equipment manager when Coach Lynch was there. So today, on the podcast, there's representation of 3 generations of Indiana athletics and storytelling. I'm really excited to tell this story. I actually got the fortune. I will not say I played under Coach Lynch. I will say I was on the team while you were the coach. I feel you have to get into a game to be a technical player, but I got my start after a conversation with you in social media. I think it was, I tell this story often about going into your office. It might have been after like maybe halfway through junior year, and we kind of had the convo like, hey, coach, I'm never going to play, right? Like the freshmen have jumped me on the depth chart. The water boy's ahead of me. Like, you know, playing football might not be in my cards, but I remember saying like, well, I'm kind of good at this social media thing. Like maybe you could give me a chance. And I think we walked right over into Coach Dietz's office right after that. And you said, hey, he's going to do this Twitter thing for us. And we were off to the races from there. So who knows? Without that conversation, we might not be here.
And didn't you say that was your first like viral video?
Yes, I made a Monon Bell hype video before my junior year. So this would have been the 2017 game.
Okay.
It got like 50,000 views on Twitter. It's no longer there because I used like an AC/DC song, and apparently with copyright, like that you weren't allowed to do that. But I was hooked from that moment on.
Oh yeah.
So shout out to you. Without Coach Lynch, I mean, I'd have been here. But this story goes far beyond my journey of the story. So it starts with you growing up in Indianapolis, where you got to play at one of the greatest schools, high schools in the state of Indiana. You were the quarterback for Bishop Chatard, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And you ended up, I mean, throughout your time there, you became, Indianapolis City Athlete of the Year, which is a huge honor.
Bishop Chatard has been amazing through the years. And a little history of it there, the school didn't open till the mid-'60s. Took their lumps the first few years in athletics because Broad Ripple was very, very strong at the time. Cathedral was still, getting kids from all over the city of Indianapolis. Broad Ripple was a very, very good athletic school as well as an academic. Bishop Chatard was kind of the new kid on the block.
How did you end up choosing or like deciding to go there? Like you probably could have gone to Broad Ripple, or like I'm sure the established Cathedral High School was like, hey, this is a stud football player. We probably want him to come over there.
My father was a devout Catholic, and we were going to go to Catholic school. Cathedral came and kind of recruited me about going down there.
Well, they don't do any recruiting. There definitely wasn't no recruiting.
But I do remember this. My father built the house we lived in on Evanston Avenue. And I remember going in, and my mom and dad were there, and I said to them, "What?" And my mother grew up in a cathedral family. I mean, at that time it was all male. But I said to him, "What about me going down to cathedral? I'm kind of getting recruited." And my dad looked at me. He said, "Son, I didn't build that house on Evanston Avenue to send you downtown to go to high school. You're going to Chatard."
Wow.
And he ended up hating cathedrals.
Conversation over, which was the greatest thing in the world because our group was on the front end of the success. And so, in really all sports, but football was one that took off. Wrestling was very strong. Obviously, basketball was good.
And you ended up playing basketball as well there, and track. You were a 3-sport athlete in high school there.
Yes.
But was football that was the thing?
Football and basketball.
Yeah.
If you think about it, at that time, basketball is still big in the state of Indiana. It's still big in Marion County. But basketball was king at that time.
Well, it was single class, right? Like everyone talks about you had to be, oh my gosh, I was just down in Du Bois County. Mm-hmm. They said you had to be a season ticket holder to get on the list to buy sectional tickets around the state of Indiana.
Absolutely. Now, the Chatards of the world were still, football. But Broad Ripple was, a huge basketball school. North Central was a big basketball school. Lawrence Central was a new school, really, but became a good basketball school.
Yeah.
On the west side, Ben Davis, so there was a lot of good athletics in both football and basketball.
And so your high school career goes spectacularly well, and you end up getting the opportunity to play when you go to college. Mm-hmm. Where were you between? Was there a thought of, 'cause I'll get to the story, is you end up going just down the street to Butler University. Mm-hmm. He hated downtown so much that he never wanted to leave the greater Broad Ripple area. But were you deciding between other places around the state or maybe even around the Midwest?
My dad was realistic enough that you're not going to go play at Notre Dame. You're not going to go play at Purdue. You're not going to play at Indiana. You're just physically not going to be able to play there. So if you want to play, you need to find one where you fit. Butler was really part of the Lynch family. The story was told me when I was young that my grandfather, in the early 30s, I want to say, he died watching his son play in Hinkle Fieldhouse. In the football stadium. In the football stadium.
Board?
Yeah. And Butler was in our family.
Yeah. Oh
pretty strong. And I always, in the back of my mind, wanted to do it. And the biggest thing was I went the year after Coach Hinkle retired. But, he was coached 3 sports all the way to the end, and he wanted his athletes to play more than one sport. So I wanted to play football and basketball, and at Butler was like, if you can make the team, no problem. There was no issue. They're going to take the top 10, top 12, whatever it was. So I was fortunate enough to get to play both sports. And a lot of it had to do that was the Tony Hinkle way.
Like, what was the landscape? Who did Butler have in the schedule? I know today they're in the Pioneer League or the Horizon League or something. I know that they're not they are an FCS school. Back in the day, was Butler lining up and playing against IU, or who was on the schedule around then?
We were a heavy Indiana, spill out a little bit. We didn't travel very much at all. Very few overnight trips.
Were you playing for Valparaiso for the helmet back then?
Where was Valparaiso, St. Joe, Wabash? Really, we played Wabash every year, but they weren't in our conference. Evansville was a big athletic school and a good football school, good basketball school. So that's really where we, was the main focus of our schedule. Ball State and Indiana State were in our conference. I don't have the years right, but it was about the time that I was in high school that they bounced up.
Oh, okay.
And I can't even tell you I don't think they went all the way to the Mid-American Conference, but I'm sure there was some kind of a league that they just fit it a little bit more. I'm rambling here, but that goes all the way
No, I love it.
back to playing basketball against Larry Bird.
You played basketball against Larry Bird?
Yeah,
twice.
Did you have to guard him?
Tell you the story.
Yes.
He loves the story.
He was a good high school player, but he's, down in southern Indiana and didn't get a lot of Marion County stole all the news and reporting and all that in those days. But he was made the all-star team. And for some reason, he didn't go. He sat out a year, came back to Indiana State. No, I think it was IU. I think he went to IU.
I'm pretty sure he went to IU and then
he
got homesick or something and like did not finish.
No.
Yeah.
Ended up playing at Indiana State. So one of the first time for early games, I mean, it was game 1, game 2, because Butler always played Ball State twice a year, Indiana State twice a year, home and home. That was just, standard. It was like the first time down the court, and I got switched off my man, and it was all of a sudden I'm guarding Larry Bird. And the shot goes up, and I go up to get it, and the next thing I know, I see this big arm come over, grab the ball, slam it to the ground, hit the ground, come up, hit me in the chin. I looked at it, I was spitting blood. Honest to God. And I turned and looked and saw him running the other end of the court. He got 42 points on us that night. And my last college game was against Ball State. Mm-hmm. It was in Hinkle Fieldhouse. So by then, he had attracted where the fieldhouse was full.
Indiana State, yeah.
Yeah. Indiana,
It was against Indiana State, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is your last ever collegiate basketball game.
Yeah.
Your last ever collegiate sporting event, because basketball would have been after football.
As a player, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we went out and we got him. We held him to 47. And they beat us. But they, obviously they had a great run there when Bird was there.
We got held him to 47.
He was a great player. I mean, obviously everybody knows, but playing against him, we weren't in his world.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting. So he ends up going to play at Bloomington, or he gets a scholarship from Bob Knight, 74. After less than a month on the Indiana University campus, Bird dropped out of school, finding the adjustment between his small hometown and the large student population of Bloomington to be overwhelming. So he returned to French Lick and enrolled at the Northwood Institute, which was at West Baden Springs, the high school, before then going over to Indiana State and then getting to come to Hinkle Fieldhouse and obviously get locked down by Coach Lynch. So obviously, college sports, hugely impactful, not only in your life, your playing life, but obviously you made your entire career about this. From the moment you graduated college, did you know you wanted to be a coach?
Yeah. Second semester of my senior year, everything was at a slower pace. You didn't really start thinking about getting a job until after your senior season year is over. But I remember good friend Joe Dowd, who we played together through high school and college and all that. I remember, we were graduating and starting to try to figure out what to do, and I told him, well, I think I'm going to go to Butler. And he said, I think I will too. His dad was the university physician. And so he was close to the Butler athletic program and all that. So Joe and I went to Butler together.
Okay.
And ended up, we were great friends. And he didn't go the coaching route. I went the coaching route.
So you guys were buddies from Chittard?
Yes. Yeah.
Buddies from Chittard. You end up going to Butler together.
Right.
And then at the end of your Butler career, you decide, hey, I'm going to stick around sports and I'm going to get into coaching.
Well, yeah. Wasn't it your sophomore year? You originally were like an econ major or something like that. Oh. And you were coming home from a game and he's all stressed about having to take this test. And one of your buddies is like, what are you stressed about? And you're like, well, what do you mean? What are you not stressed for? And he said, I'm going to teach and coach. And then didn't you go in the registrar's office and was like, hey, I want to be in education.
Next day.
Yeah.
I went and said, how do I get in, to...
Yeah.
Oh.
So
yeah,
you graduate from Butler. Mm-hmm. Did you already have your first job lined up and know what you wanted to do?
I knew what I wanted to do. I can't say for sure the first job was locked up.
What was the first job you ended up getting after Butler?
Well, I talked to, the different high schools, and then Bill Sylvester, who was the head football coach and athletic director, he said, you can help us.
Wow. Bill Sylvester was the head football coach at Chittard?
Yeah. No.
Butler.
At Butler.
Oh, at Butler.
At Butler.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I worked with Bill at my first job out of college. I worked with Bill. Great guy.
Wait, you did?
At Apex. Yeah, that was my first gig. Bill Sylvester, great dude. So he's the head coach at Butler. you're graduating. He says, hey, come back and join our staff.
Yeah.
So what do you get to coach that first season at Butler?
Whatever he told me to.
Amen.
But that's not unusual back then because I say we had 4 coaches and 100 players.
Okay. What year did you graduate from Butler?
1977 because I went 5 years. I had a knee surgery year, and back then, you didn't recover as fast. So I was a 5-year.
5-year. Yeah.
And I didn't graduate until after basketball season because back then you couldn't be a graduate and I forget.
And finish out the
Something.
season.
Yeah.
Because you would have technically, it would have been like 4.5. You would have been done halfway through basketball.
Right.
Okay. So you end up getting that first job at Butler, helping out Bill. That's hilarious. And then where does that lead you into next? Like where was what did the coaching ladder look like in 1977? I mean, the story ends, like you ascend all the way up to under Lee Corso, as well as leading the Hoosiers at IU, who just knocked off the Oregon Ducks, which is incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good time to be part of the Hoosier State.
Yeah.
So what did that ladder look like for you as you were climbing up?
I had no clue, to be honest. I knew I was going to graduate and we were going to get married. Linda and I were, going to get married that June. And she was a nurse, so she had a job. So we were kind of feeling our way, what we're going to do. And I wanted to stay in the Indianapolis area. And quite honestly, I wanted to be involved with Butler. And I had the opportunity. I can't remember exactly. Somebody on the staff left, and Coach Sylvester said, you still want to coach? And yes, sir. Okay. It was, there wasn't an interview.
Nope, just like you're in.
You're in.
How many years did you stay with Butler?
5.
Okay.
And they were great. I was an assistant that whole 5 years. My last year, we got to be a national kind of team, and I wasn't good enough to play, at the next level.
Yeah.
And that's where really Coach Sylvester had a lot to do with that. That it was subtle.
Yeah.
But if you're still looking.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah. And how long were you an assistant coach at Butler, though?
Well, I was probably an assistant 6 years, something like that.
And what was the next opportunity after Butler?
Northern Illinois.
Wow.
So
Absolutely.
under Lee Corso.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
From Butler?
5 years at Butler, then you get the opportunity to go to Northern Illinois and coach with Lee Corso. How did you get connected to Lee Corso?
I had bounced around doing all the summer camps
Yeah.
to make a little extra money in the summer. And I went to a lot of them, and there were college coaches that were there.
Didn't Dick Dellahan or something know him? Or
Everybody, kind of knew him.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got the opportunity to go with him
To Northern Illinois.
to Northern
So
Illinois.
well, this is great. You leave the Hoosier State after not leaving the greater Broad Ripple area for your first, 25 years, 27 years of life. You decide, hey, you're at that point, do you have children yet?
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking we might have had 3.
Yeah. Or, Joey was a baby.
Joey was a baby.
And you pack everything up and you head to Northern Illinois to be on Coach Lee Corso's staff.
Yeah. And most of these stories are true. Some of them are a little bit. But this one's true. This is part of it going that Linda never thought she was going to leave Indianapolis, Marion County. We're driving down that interstate. I can't remember the number now, but from Chicago out to DePauw. And have you been to DePauw?
I have not.
It's out in the country now.
Yeah.
And it's a great city because it's a big university and all. And it's not that far from Chicago. But anyway, I'm driving and I look in the rearview mirror and she's just slowing down. I'm like, oh my God, something's wrong. So I pulled off the interstate, going, heading to our new home in Chicago or outside Chicago, and she pulls off the side of the road. So I put it in, the kids are in the car. I go down, and she's crying. I can't move from Indianapolis. I can't, it's like, I said, well, it's too late to worry about it now. So we jumped in and got it going.
You end up, just had a small pause.
She's been a saint and was really a saint through the years of coaching all the different moves.
Yeah.
And their coaches' wives are that way, but Linda was terrific because, we went to some places that she hadn't heard of before, but you pack it up and go. And but I remember that was the first move she had to make, and I remember that she pulled off the road and end up having friends from DePauw, Illinois to this day.
And then when you guys left there, she was sad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
because you only spent 1 year up in Northern Illinois before Lee Corso, and you end up making an even bigger move.
Yeah, Coach Corso, he was, he had spent all those years at IU. I think he sat out a year. Then he got back at Northern Illinois. And I'll tell you, they got Bill Mallory was the coach before him, so they were able to get some, elite head football coaches. At that time, and Corso took a job in the USFL.
Was he as revered? Like today, he is iconic,
Yes.
first ballot Hall of Famer, was he that well known and well liked back then?
He was about as well known and well liked as you could be in that time period. Because, for the most part, you stayed within your geographical area, whether you're a Big Ten fan or the Big Ten, everybody was in 3 states. Now they're coast to coast.
That stinking graphic before the games keeps expanding.
I know, it's crazy.
It's so different. But anyway, she went and we, with Coach Corso, and to this day, he took care of me because I remember when he made an announcement to the team that he was leaving and all, and we were there, and everybody was.
Was this news to you?
Oh, it's news to everybody.
Oh, wow.
But
and then you just packed up your life and moved across state lines with your wife who didn't want to go in the first place.
With him.
Yeah.
But when he was leaving and I was there, he said, Bill, I'm going to take care of you. And he said, just trust me. So he took off, and I'm like, and I went home and told Linda, I said, I don't know what it means. But he did. He called me. He said, you come, I got an assistant job for you.
So now you're in the USFL.
Now I'm in the USFL and pro football. And
coaching quarterbacks.
Yes.
And what was the USFL for those that it's no longer around, or maybe it's been around in some different sizes and shapes, but it's not.
Yeah.
Was it like a developmental league that was supposed to lead to the NFL?
Yes. But there was some big money guys that did it. They wanted their own football league.
Yeah.
It was like somebody couldn't get a football franchise, so the heck with it, I'll buy a league.
Yeah, it's like because it's like NFL owners is like the old boys club of old boys clubs, right? It's like there's only 32 of them available, cost a couple $1 billion to get in, and it's like the most exclusive country club you could be part of. So they're like, oh, you're not going to let me in? I'll just go build my own. But your time in Orlando, well, one, I guess I want to ask, picking up and moving your family. Twice in 2 years, further and further away from home and from Indianapolis. How hard was that for you all?
Easy for me. That's where, Linda was a saint. I mean, she never, okay, let's go. And fortunate enough that she's from a big family, brothers and sisters. I mean, everybody helped out to make the move easier. We weren't there long.
Yeah, 1 year, right?
I'm not
a
sure.
little less than that, even. I think
I'm not
9 months or something.
So you're down there for 9 months.
Yeah.
1 season.
Oh, a half a season. I mean, I think I went in the winter, and by the fall, and here's another where I was fortunate. Bill Sylvester, who was my head coach, who hired me for my first job, he heard that the league, it was folding and that I didn't have a job, and he called me and said, "Come on back." He said, "You be the head coach, and I'll just be the athletic director." So he took care of me again, but he was ready to, just be an AD. More sports had grown, all that kind of stuff.
And by that point, you were what? You were like barely 30, right?
Yeah, that's
30 years old.
So you're just turning 30, and you get your first head coaching job back at your alma mater.
Yes.
Wow. And you'd already coached professionally too, like it wasn't the NFL, but it was still professional football.
Yeah.
Was that another hard conversation to have with Linda, saying all right, the league's folded and we live in Florida now?
Oh man, she was out the door. I mean, I don't think she packed. It was, so, and turned out great.
So you end up coming back to Butler from the 85 season to the 89 season as the head coach at Butler.
Right.
You know, things are there memorable moments through there? Like, is Butler a desirable job to the state, to the country, or was it like in your head, did you have higher aspirations to keep going?
No, at that time, I was a Butler grad. I mean, Butler was my school, and so many friends, and going back to Indianapolis, it was perfect. And Coach Sylvester left a really good football team. It wasn't like taking over a job that got to rebuild. And we had really good seasons, and then at the late '80s, things started changing at Butler, and I totally understood it. And I was a Butler basketball player and all that. Barry Collier was one of my best friends, fraternity brother, all that. But it was at that time that they had to put the resources into basketball.
So they could only really pick one of those two to like pursue at a higher level, and they chose basketball. And it ends up, I mean, working out pretty well, obviously the Gordon Hayward years and all this crazy stuff that happens in the future.
Unbelievable.
Brad Stevens,
Yeah.
DePauw guy too. Yeah.
The most famous Butler alumni is actually a DePauw alumni.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Classic. So you end up then going to Ball State in 1990 to be the offensive coordinator and the QB's coach. Did that feel like a step up from being the head coach, or did that feel like a step back to be a coordinator positions coach again?
All how you read into it. One, I needed a job.
That's true.
We didn't. I shouldn't say we didn't. I
You still had the job at
I had the
Butler.
job, and I could have stayed there forever. But I had far enough along enough. I wanted to be a football coach, and I kind of wanted to be. And Linda really kind of wanted to be at home.
Yeah.
Not moving all over the world. Our kids were getting older, all that. So that led to staying.
So then you end up going out to Muncie from 1990 to 1992.
Paul Shadell, right?
Paul Shadell was the head coach. They would just come off being a Mid-America Conference Championship, playing in the bowl game. Offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, took another job. I can't remember, but it was a step-up kind of job. And, I knew a lot of the networking by that time in there. And I, had some friends who were on the Ball State staff, and Paul Shadell was the head coach, and went up and interviewed with him and talked to him. He hired me. So it was that was a good move because it was Division I with a good program, and it was an easy transition for Linda and the kids.
So then you move out to Muncie. How old were your kids at that point?
They were young at that point because they were there. That was the first time they were there.
Yes.
Then they ended up coming back, obviously. But that was middle school years. My mom was in sixth grade, actually. Dated my now dad.
Oh, in sixth grade.
In sixth grade.
Who?
He dumped her.
You're telling the whole state
Yeah,
about that?
I didn't really mean to do that. But that was like middle school years because Billy would have been eighth grade, the oldest.
Yeah.
Joey and Kevin were young.
And then, so you're at Ball State. You are the offensive coordinator, the QB's coach. You end up then from the, so there is, I love that you talk about Linda being a saint because she's going from Florida to Indianapolis. You almost set some roots down. You're here for 4 years at Butler, then 2 years out to Ball State, then 1 year down to Indiana as the quarterback's coach, and then kind of boomerang back to Muncie.
Yeah.
Did your family go down to IU when you went down there for a year?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think weren't you there 2 years?
Yeah,
Maybe
I
just
think
a
I
year.
was 2 years.
93, 94. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in 95, you end up coming back and get 7 years at Ball State. And that was where you were a Division I head coach at Ball State.
Correct.
Did that kind of feel like you had made it in a sense? Like you're in the MAC, you're at a big school, you have scholarships, the whole 9 yards. Like how did that feel to get that first big Division I coaching job?
It was good. I obviously wouldn't have taken it if it was, at that point, you look at your career and you got a big family and, you can't, you got to be, I want to say, smart about, where you go and who you're going to work with. And, is there stability in the program and all that, knowing that, you can move at any time. But
Yeah, so you end up doing 7 years there from 95 to 2002. And in that, I think there's like one of your signature seasons, right? The 1996 MAC title.
Right.
Like that's pretty impressive. Like that was been your second year as the head coach?
Yes.
You win the MAC.
Yes.
What did that mean for Muncie, for Ball State, for that program, and for your own? I don't want to say like for your coaching career. You know, you win a MAC title with Ball State. Like I feel like that's a pretty big accolade.
Yeah. The program had been in good hands, and where traditionally Ball State was probably somewhat, had success in basketball, had gone to the NCAA tournament a couple times and all. And Paul Shudell came in, and he had been a longtime assistant at Michigan, so he had a pretty good background into how to, run a program. Really what had happened is back at Butler, they were going to do some things different, and football wasn't part of it.
Yeah.
And Paul Shudell called me and asked me to come on up and be the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. And it turned out to be great in that, networking and met a bunch of new coaches that were really good guys.
And then you end up getting the job after Paul.
Yeah.
Correct.
As the head coach.
I had left and gone to IU with
Played.
Bill Mallory.
Yeah.
With Bill Mallory for 2 seasons?
2 seasons.
And then you get the call back from Ball State?
Yes.
And what had happened did Paul retire or did he?
He might have gone back to Michigan.
Maybe.
So he leaves,
He-
he leaves and they call you up.
Yes.
How did it feel to get that call?
Well, excited. Wanted to be a head coach again. And so it was a good opportunity. I knew most of the coaches on the staff.
So you win the MAC in 96. Did you have more success while you were at Ball State?
No, we had the longest losing streak in the country. Seriously.
Oh, gosh.
I've tried to wash that away, and it's 100 years ago, but we lost about 22, 23 games in a row over the course of 2 seasons.
So how do you go from what in 1996 you went 8-4 and won the MAC, and you go to the Las Vegas Bowl, and then what happens? And I talk about building this team. I think it's an interesting distinction when you go from Division III, Division II. This is someone's job in their career is to win football games.
Right. Well, where you feel bad is that it's all the assistants and their jobs and careers and families and all that. The first year, it was about halfway through the season. We went on a losing streak, and it went through the end of the season. We came back the next year. And, we had worked hard. We'd recruited hard, all that. But it was a tough league. It's still a tough league. But at that time, they could really recruit. I say they, the MAC. You could get some guys that may had Big Ten ability, but they weren't available.
Yeah, there wasn't like
They
huddle.
couldn't yeah.
Like there wasn't huddle where you could see every player everywhere across the country in like the snap of a finger.
Absolutely. Getting in a car, getting in a traveling, finding. You had video you could watch and film and all that. But remarkable is that we lost 22 games in a row.
And I was born during that stint too.
I can't believe, I can't remember who it was we beat. But anyway, we won a football game. But I think we won like 5 out of our last 6 games or something like that, where after losing all that, we had good kids that fought and they're getting embarrassed on campus. You're a football player, you lost 20 straight games. But it wasn't they didn't just start transferring. They wanted to be a part of and got it back there. And then we went another year that we were pretty good, but new AD came in, time to move on.
Yeah. So then you found yourself, what year did all of your aunts and uncles and parents graduate?
So that's
high
what
school?
is so interesting. And he might be one of the only like Division I college football coaches that this is the case, but every single one of his kids graduated from high school at Delta High School.
Shout out Eagles.
Shout out the Eagles, yeah. And they all married people from Muncie. That's like further down the road, but Muncie really is home for all of us. So that 2002 season, my Uncle Joey would have graduated.
Right.
And they still had Kevin, but he only had 2 more years left of high school. So they kind of worked it out where
he could graduate.
They could stay in Muncie and not move because he ended up at DePauw.
If you've been hunting for a brunch spot that understands food allergies and has bold flavors, look no further than Fire and Ice Cafe in Indianapolis. This hidden gem serves up European-inspired dishes that are entirely gluten-free. They're also completely free from peanuts, tree nuts, soy, sesame, fish, and crustaceans. We're talking biscuits, sandwiches, crepes, falafel bowls, pastries, and of course, all your favorite brunch drinks, crafted with serious care and a whole lot of flavor. Whether you've got food restrictions or just interested in great taste, this place is a must visit. Seriously, I don't have dietary restrictions, but the food actually rocks here. You definitely need to check it out. Grab your brunch crew and head to Fire and Ice Cafe at 6211 Allisonville Road, and your taste buds are gonna thank you. So you find yourself, 2002, no longer the head coach of Ball State, kind of figuring out what comes next. Was there a time where you thought, you know what, we had a good run with coaching, maybe I should do something different?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I thought about that for about a day, and then decided, no, I want to.
You remembered that economics class and that test that he was stressing about, and said, "No, I think I'll take coaching." And how do you end up getting in contact with DePauw and taking over that team?
Their legendary head coach had announced his retirement.
Shout out Coach Nick.
Shout out Coach Nick, yeah.
Absolutely. He's the best. He was getting out, and he kind of. I think they had a pretty good pool of guys that won the job, but he called me, and he said, "Bill," he said, "Are you done with the Division I?" And because he had done the same thing, he had been at Northwestern. Staff got fired. He landed at DePauw. At DePauw, and spent about 30 years there, or whatever it was.
What do you think the main difference in your job and responsibility as a Division I head coach versus a Division III head coach is?
You work the same hours. You're just doing different things.
Yeah.
When you're in Division I, you're overseeing a huge group of people, and just things that you have to do besides just the coaching part.
Yeah.
And the responsibilities there, and all. With Division III head coach, you work just as many hours, but yours is spending time trying to find players, because you're going and you don't have scholarships to give. So you got to work really hard, and I got great respect for anybody's Division III coach. You're selling your program, and you're selling the university and the education you're going to get. You're not selling any of this.
Oh my gosh. Especially today in like the NIL era too, where it's like you can go into some of these places as the Division I head coach and you're just a checkbook. Like what's in it? But when you go into a living room of a player who might be between going to IU to be a student, like hanging up the cleats and being just a normal Kelly School of Business person, or come to DePauw and be a football player.
Right.
It's hard.
It's hard, but the one thing that you're really selling is if you graduate from DePauw, you got a chance to go somewhere. So the sell is, I can't give you money now, but if you graduate from this place,
it's an investment in your future.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really is.
Okay, so you end up at DePauw for the 2004 season?
That sounds right.
Okay. And then you end up going to IU.
Yeah.
For the first stint. Yeah.
Second stint.
Oh, your second stint at IU.
Yeah.
So you were the offensive coordinator, the tight ends coach from 05 to 07?
He was there for Bill Mallory, and then Terry Hepner called you.
Yeah, I was with Bill Mallory, and then I had a chance to go to Ball State as a head coach. I was an assistant for Bill. And then the same thing happened here.
Yeah. So then you get to go to to IU. And you're on staff there.
With Terry Hepner.
So 1 year in D3, and you're like, you know what? I'm not done. I'm not done with Division I yet.
And, but first of all, it was IU. And so Linda and the kids, they didn't have any problem with that because they had spent, so many years down there and had
They
friends.
had graduated by then, too.
Where did your boys,
Okay.
where did all your kids go to college?
Billy went to Ball State, played football at Ball State for you. Mm-hmm. He was on the team when the losing streak team.
Oof.
And that was when I was born. Anyway, it was
What a year.
Rough year, but you got, so Billy went to Ball State. Joey went to Ball State, was a quarterback. He was going to play for you, or he did play for you.
He played for me a year, the year he redshirted.
Yeah.
And then I got
Did he
got
Did he get to stay?
Yeah.
Was that a little awkward?
Brady Hoke.
Brady Hoke was great.
Okay.
He said and I knew him through the years and all that. And he was a Michigan guy assistant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And no, he was, and he told me, he says, Bill, if he wants to stay, I want him to stay, and I'll treat him like the rest. And he was great to Joey.
And then Kevin went to Franklin College. But when he was at IU, Billy was an assistant at IU. And that's a big reason why I think I was too young. And you can correct me on this, but I think that's a big reason why he took it too. Because yes, it was IU, but he would have gotten the opportunity to coach with his son, Billy.
So you were both assistants at the time at IU? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Terry Hepner and I were really good friends from the coaching profession in that, again, I go back to the summer camps. And Terry and I worked camps together for probably 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And and then he was coaching at Franklin College when I was coaching at Butler. He was an assistant at Franklin. Mm-hmm. So I knew what a really, really good coach he was.
Yeah.
And then when he ended up getting the IU job, because he had a lot of success over at Miami.
Okay, so you end up at IU on the staff with your son in similar roles. Mm-hmm. And then what happens that leads you to being the head coach at IU?
Unfortunately, Terry passed away.
Wow.
It was really, really sad.
Was it during the season?
It wasn't no, it was not in the season.
Summer before.
So the summer leading up to the season, the head coach, Terry Hepner,
yes,
he passes away.
Yes.
Is there like a process, or is it just like, hey, you have experience coaching a Division I team, like now you're leading this group of men?
Terry had done a phenomenal job. You know, it's one more thing of taking a program that was down and, you know, things were a little bit negative. And he came in with enthusiasm and it filtered throughout the entire athletic program, to tell you the truth. And but then unfortunately he got sick with cancer.
Wow.
And I can't remember how many months he hung in there, but
I think it was like maybe a year, but you got word that he was really bad.
This is an interesting piece. Talk to me about the first time you addressed the team after the coach that probably spent time in their living rooms, eating around their dinner tables, recruited a lot of these guys to come down to Bloomington. He passes away from cancer, and you're this assistant coach that is elevated and is now in charge of this locker room, who's supposed to get around to play a football season, even though like there's just this tragedy. Talk to me about that.
That was very difficult. First, you had to know Terry. His enthusiasm and personality was infectious. He passes away, and the team is, you know, well, I take over. Well, I can't be Terry Hepner. You know, I've seen guys before, well, this is the way he did, so I'm going to do it that way, because it comes across as either phony or you don't know what else to say. So fortunately, I'd been a head football coach at a couple different places, so I had an idea of where I got to start with this thing. And the first thing was the entire staff stayed. And we're fortunate there because normally you would think they would all take off and find other jobs. But they wanted to be a part of it too, in memory of Terry, because it was really tough on the kids. And those coaches were good enough guys. They knew these kids need some direction and all that. And we did, and it was unbelievable. It led to, you know, we won the old Oaken bucket game at the end of the season.
So in your first season, you led the 2007 Hoosiers to a 7-6 record, the best for any Hoosier head coach in their first year since 1905, and the best record for an Indiana football team since 1993. So, and your first bowl appearance since 1993 as well. So, like, it seems as though, like, people are fired up and that year goes well. That then, like, when you got to the end of that season, how did that locker room feel as you know, obviously you don't win the bowl game, but it's still been an incredible year.
You know, the whole thing was really tough.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of banded together, starting with the administration at the university. I mean, down through everybody, and a lot of it was because the respect they had for Terry and his family. And it was a hard year, made simpler for me because of the great staff, the great kids. Everybody worked together.
Was there someone that you were looking for mentorship during that time? Like, there's no playbook to, you know, taking over that team. I didn't know if there was like another coach where you're like, hey, man, this is the situation that we have here at IU. Like, I don't know if there's wisdom or what were you leaning on to confide into or get mentorship onto what to say to these young men?
I talked to a lot of guys.
Yeah.
A lot of guys who gave great advice. The biggest thing I knew is don't try to be Terry Hebner.
Yeah.
Because Terry had an infectious personality and he was really well liked. He was a guy that went active on campus and did things, and it really affected to the players, especially the ones that he recruited.
Yeah.
So I knew, don't try to be Terry. And I had that much respect for Terry. I didn't want to try to, because that was going to be a failure. So anyway, hard year.
Yeah. And so then you end up going on, and the 2008 season, a tough one due to a lot of injuries. I think they say in here too, like against Wisconsin, you had 3 separate quarterbacks and 4 separate centers. That's just tough luck right there.
They're also saying there they got 62 on us or something like that.
I wasn't going to pull that one on you, Coach.
Oh, he'll say whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean.
That's a long time ago. They can't get me now.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And I think you end up having 13 of your 22 starters are injured during that season. Like, tough to win when you're down that many guys. 2009, but you do end up pulling a really good recruiting class. Mm-hmm. So I think there was a secret, and I think that one of your strongest suits was recruiting and like getting guys to come and play for you. What do you think your key to getting players to come, whether it's IU, DePauw, Ball State, wherever you are? It does seem like you, young leaders, young men, want to come and play for teams that you coach.
Well, the first thing is you got to develop a relationship with them. In my coaching career, you go all the way from Division III to Big Ten. Okay, so there's a lot of different styles of recruiting as you go along. Non-scholarship, public school versus private schools, scholarship players. So you've got to kind of handle that whole thing. Having that experience helped me because I had played what was Division II, even though they didn't call it that way, but small college football. I had coached at every level. So the job is going to be very, very tough on anybody. But I had been in a lot of those situations, not where your head coach passed away, believe me. But other things were families, kids, things that happen.
I personally think that my grandpa's greatest strength, and you talk about this all the time, is being interested rather than trying to be interesting. And he meets people where they are, looks at them versus like trying to play him up. Yeah. And I think that was his biggest strength in recruiting. And having grown up in Indiana, coaching all throughout the state, it's easy to recruit a place that you genuinely love. And I feel like that's how we won people.
The other thing I'll say in recruiting, the high school coaches in this state tried to help us. They had great respect for Terry and IU. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And where in other years maybe they didn't get involved, but there were a lot of high school coaches that really.
Do you have advice? Let's say, I'm sure there are going to be some high school and some college football coaches today that are going to listen to this that are currently battling, whether it's getting people to come to DePauw. Let's say Coach Dietz will listen to this for sure. Mm-hmm. Coach Dietz is listening to this, or maybe a longtime fan of the pod, Coach Signetti is definitely going to listen to this too. Obviously, you've been doing this a long time. If there are coaches that listen to this and want to know your advice on getting the top kids to come to their school and to play for them, do you have advice of what they should be thinking about?
Be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be honest with what you're selling. You got to be honest about the role that they may have. You be honest with them about the education. It's because if you don't, it's going to come back to bite you.
Do you have advice for walking into houses? Like, I bet you've had dinner at so many kitchen tables across the state of Indiana. Yeah. But it's kind of like, I don't know, were you ever nervous to walk in there? Like, you kind of have to hype yourself up a little bit and go in, or what?
Not really.
No, you just...
No, you try to do your homework and get a little idea what the...
Yeah. Did you have a go-to conversation starter? You sit down, dinner gets served, and you're like, well, now what?
I can't remember. Oh, that's funny. I probably did, but I can't remember what it is now.
Okay, I do want to dive, before we're going to kind of land the plane on the career side, okay. But I do want to dive in. Is there any recruits that you got that ended up blossoming into be spectacular? Like anyone where you like, I sat and I had dinner with so-and-so and then they ended up being incredible.
I coached some of those guys.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say I took credit for recruiting
Hey,
them.
there we go.
I can't really come up with that one kid.
Or were there any players that like, you went in, you recruited, and you're like, oh, this will be a great like role player, but then ends up being an all-star, just like absolute stud.
Happens all the time. Happens all the time. And so many with walk-ons.
Yeah.
It's all changed at Division I now. I don't even pretend to understand exactly what they can and they can't do in recruiting. But, we always had a goal, how many scholarship guys we wanted. And generally, the scholarship guys needed to somewhat fit a position. We need before you go out on the road, we need 5 offensive linemen, we need 2 defensive linemen, we need 3 linebackers, 2 inside guys, 1 out. That kind of thing, and that's what you're looking for. What happens is you don't have total control up until back in those days, signing date, and so you get a commitment from a kid. And then you hope you could hold on to them, in all honesty. And you didn't have the things that you could throw at them but you can now.
Yeah.
You had to sell the education and you had to sell the university. Fortunately, the places I had, it was easy to sell the education at those universities.
Yeah, I mean, every single place. I don't know. I guess I don't know the education of Northern Illinois. I don't know how good that is. But I know, Butler, IU, DePauw, Ball State's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like those are all, especially
Good,
from the D3 side, like the DePauw
Right.
side. It's like,
It's
hey,
easy to sell if
if for the right people that have the aspirations to do the right things. Okay. So I was wondering though. I always found the one that our friend group always talks about is Nate Orson. He came on and we talked to Nate about it, and he always was like, I basically had to recruit myself. Like I really wanted to come to and he ends up getting the strip sack in the final Monon Bell game in 2017 and helps us like bring the bell home.
That's amazing.
And it's like, he was a kid who was like, I really want to come here. Like coach is like, please let me come here. And it ends up being an absolute stud. So I always find those ones funny of like, you never know, especially when there's high school, like there's seniors in high school. There's so much growth and opportunity that comes throughout those next 4 years. By the time they become a college senior, it's like you go from being like a boy to a young man, right? We're gonna talk about time wraps up at IU. So there is the iconic clip of you. Are you at me? Lexie, set the scene for us.
So we're at Michigan. I was at that game. I would have been in 3rd grade though, maybe. So I don't, it's kind of light. I only remember what he got after, but I think we were down by 3. Had a really good chance to beat Michigan at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be crazy. You have them on the ropes.
Yeah, and there was a call. I think it was a pass to. I'm pretty sure it was DeMarlo Belcher, and they essentially like stripped it from him
On the ground,
and said it was an incomplete pass, or interception or something like that. And so my grandpa, Papa Bill, as I call him, running down the sidelines and takes his gum and throws it. Looked like Chucky. That's what people like to say. He looked like when he gets angry. And I don't really remember essentially that happening in the moment, but I know that I forget what gum company it was, but sent him boxes and boxes of gum. And he gave it to my siblings and I.
No way.
Yeah.
It
was like a brand deal.
Like Wrigley or
kinda.
something. Like this is like NIL.
Yeah.
Here you are.
Yeah.
You spend your whole career working hard to recruit and coach and visit with parents and all, and you're remembered for throwing gum. What a great career.
But I do think for anyone who has sat and spent a significant amount of time with you, that like that is not what you're known for.
No.
Like anyone that has actually sat down and talked with Coach Lynch and had a long, in-depth conversation, or even a 5-minute conversation, knows that like, but that also shows the passion that you have. Like you're in there in Michigan, in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
You're down 3 points. You're driving the field, and the wrong call's made. And in the heat of passion, like this thing's getting intense.
Oh.
I'm sure that place is rocking. I'm sure that it's just like so much emotion and things going through. And hey, and you got free gum for all the kids.
Well, and I will say to that point, like he is the nicest guy if you do know him, to anyone except officials. Like, that's really the only time where it's...
No, that's just the heat of battle.
Oh, yeah. No, you're competitive.
This episode of Get In is sponsored by Accounted For, a team of Indiana CPAs who believe accounting should work for business owners, not against them. Instead of hourly bills and slow responses, Accounted For gives you everything tax, bookkeeping, consulting, and virtual CFO services under one fixed monthly fee. It's all cloud-based, transparent, and designed to keep your business moving without interruptions. You'll have direct access to a real CPA who knows your numbers and your goals because they think like business owners too. Learn more at accountedforcpa.com and tell them the Get In team sent you. So you leave IU, you go to Butler, working with Barry,
Yep.
and you end up doing that for 3 years. And then DePauw fires their old coach midseason. The legendary Coach Cernka takes over as the interim.
Yep.
And after that season, they end up, do they call you up? Do they post this job? How do you end up getting back in contact with DePauw?
I think I called him.
You call them and say, hey, I'd like to get one more run or,
Yeah.
Do this whole. And,
Exactly.
And at this point, had you said, you know what, I think the stability, or maybe not the stability, but Division III, that kind of thing is going to be what I want to do.
Yeah, because I kind of grew up in it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any ego about, well, if you're not coaching scholarship football, you're not really coaching. And DePauw is, an easy sell. You got to go to the right folks,
Yeah.
But if you can get them on campus and get them involved, you've got a chance to recruit.
Yeah. And you end up taking over in 2013. I think you go 4-6 on the year. And you end up taking a 4-6 team to 7-3, 8-2, 8-2, 8-2. And then, a down year or so, but you end up doing very, very well during your time at DePauw. You bring the bell back, help coach that team in 2017,
Yep.
led by great friend Matt Hunt, who goes absolutely berserk. One of the craziest football games. Again, people need to remember, I did not play football, but I was on the sideline for that game.
Yeah.
You can tell by how white my uniform is in the post-game picture. I was on that sideline. Come on now.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and so you end up taking over at DePauw and finishing the remainder of your coaching career out there. Are a legend. I don't know how many total seasons you've been on a sideline. Lexie, you know that one, but it's a lot of seasons. 52 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
52 years.
52 years.
You were on a sideline in some capacity. It's incredible. As you look back and think about a 50-plus year coaching career, what are some of the most special moments for you from that time?
Probably that game, the year Hep had died, when we won the final game there.
The bucket game.
Where's Purdue?
Yeah.
In our stadium. But that one jumps out at me because that was the emotions of that whole year. Ending up, saw Hepner's family. It's just that one really stands out.
It was like Austin Starr. It came down to a field goal.
Long field goal.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
27-24.
Yeah.
It was tied.
Final game to secure going to a bowl
Yes.
too, right? Like
Bowl game win.
Austin Starr
Bucket.
kicks a 49-yard field goal with 30 seconds left to win.
Yeah.
Was the stadium silent as that kick went up?
Oh, it was, because, for one, we weren't a winning program, like they are right now. We, have a season above 500, then a season below 500 and all that. But
What was Purdue's record that year? Had they been good?
they had a pretty good run.
They were 8-5. They
Yeah.
finished the season.
Purdue-
So you were definitely the underdog.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like when you were at IU, Purdue was pretty good
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that just after when was Drew Brees there?
That he kind of started it.
And they were still kind of riding the high of. They went to the Rose Bowl in the early 2000s.
They were really good. They were recruiting, really good players, and they had good skill. And
That'd be a heck of a one to remember. Just like the ultimate season to one. Yeah, the best season of first year head coach at IU had since 1905. The best season since 93. First bowl game since 93. And just honoring a friend of yours.
Yeah.
That's a special year.
yeah,
Yeah.
How did it make you feel as a dad when your sons decided to carry on the family business and go be on sidelines as well throughout their careers?
I didn't force them into anything, but when they decided to do it, I was glad they were going to get a shot. And I was never, especially starting out, knowing you got to work your way up. You're generally not going to get something from the start, so you got to be willing to, if it's coaching Division III football or coaching Division II football or whatever it is that you got to do to get there. Now sometimes you're fortunate, and as the years gone on, programs you have more graduate assistants, but other type of positions like that.
Yeah.
Coach gets a job and he needs to hire some young guys to all that. So that's kind of how most young guys get in it, is to go as grad assistants or whatever.
And Kevin was a grad assistant for him at IU too.
Oh, yeah.
So he was coaching with 2 of his sons.
Wow. So, I mean, the footprint of the Lynch family across football, not only in Indiana, but Vanderbilt, Texas A&M.
Joey was at Vandy, and now he's at Texas A&M. Billy's the head high school football coach at Delta now.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah, but he had coached at Rice before, Miami of Ohio, IU obviously, and then now Kevin at Ball State,
and then Butler,
and now Butler.
Billy went down to Texas too.
Yeah, Billy was at Rice. Joey, before he went to Vanderbilt, was at Colorado State for a year. And then he was at Ball State before that. So
just like all over the place,
yeah.
like legendary. What advice would you have for this next generation that wants to get into coaching? Whether it's football or whether it's anything.
Yeah.
Like the world needs coaches. Coaches make huge impacts. But what would be your sales pitch to this next generation when it comes to coaching?
You got to have a passion for doing it. Not afraid to give it a try. But if it's you're going to know that, hey, I really like this, because you're working ungodly hours. You're when you first start off.
Why? Like, why would you want to travel and uproot your family multiple times? Why would you want to be on a sideline every Saturday in the fall, give up every afternoon, weekend, watch film? Why do it, Coach?
Love doing it. I really do think it's really fun to coach, especially at the college level, not only for their ability, but their one bad shot to the leg and they're looking for a job and moving on and being able to give advice. And, because there's only so many, they're going to get a chance to play the next level.
When you look back and your players come and listen to this, what do you hope a lesson that they take from you and over your tenure of coaching, playing, being on sidelines, building a family? What do you hope they remember from Coach Lynch?
It really goes back to work hard and be loyal.
Yeah.
And I mean that work ethic there isn't a profession in the world where the work ethic isn't going to, get you somewhere. But the loyalty part, I learned being a player, being a coach, to young people to be loyal to them, be honest with them, be loyal to your assistants, be loyal to your university. Obviously loyalty to your family. I think that's really important to me.
Yeah. I'll give you a story real quick. Can I give a story real quick?
Yeah. I have
of this isn't just words that Coach Lynch says. This is like a core pillar to your character. And it wasn't just the players who were good. Let it be known. Like I took a few JV snaps throughout my day, but never actually contributed a meaningful snap to DePauw football. But it would have been after my fall semester, my sophomore year. I ended up transferring home, and my mom was sick, and she ends up passing away. This would have been spring of 2017. And I'm no longer at DePauw. I am not a student there. I ended up graduating from Ancilla Junior College up in northern Indiana. And at my mom's funeral, who else would walk in other than Coach Bill Lynch? I didn't play a snap. I had gone down there and I had, been around the locker room and all that stuff there. And you walked into my mom's funeral and I just couldn't believe it. I was in legitimate disbelief. My fraternity brothers had come, some of my friends and, that group of people, but you didn't have to do that. And you talk about loyalty to everyone within your program, to your school, coaches, all this, like your players. And it was at that moment I knew I knew I was going back to I was going to go back to DePauw, but I was like, it was even, and I was going to rejoin the football team and be a part of it in some way, shape, or fashion. And you making the 2.5 hour drive from Greencastle to Bremen, Indiana, to be there on one of the worst days of me and my family's life, just like reiterates the fact that loyalty and hard work, all those, like you could have been driving to go try to get a new recruit in Southern Indiana, and you drive up for the third string JV safety that never will, like it just means something. And it was that moment that I knew, wow, Coach Lynch, incredible guy.
I appreciate that. That goes back to that be loyal.
Yeah. Right.
And like you've always told me, and my uncles talk about all the time, like it really is about the people and making those relationships with every single member of the staff, every single player, down to like, you don't treat anyone like they're great or like better than you or worse than you. He's like very even keeled, and story kind of about that being loyal too. After the Bell game, my freshman year, so 2018, my family and I are waiting for my grandpa to get out. We did lose the Bell that year, unfortunately, but we're waiting. We're like, where is he? The whole team had been out of the locker room, and he comes out with the janitor in a trash bag in his hand, like he was cleaning up the locker room, and like I feel like he doesn't act like he's better than anyone, and genuinely cares about every single person, and your story is a great example of that too. Like
I just it was very of such the most special gesture. Not very often that I don't have words to say. It was one of the most special gestures. What he said on this podcast, what you've said about like these lessons that your previous players, or I mean, the coaching tree you have just is incredible. It spans all divisions from, I'm sure, almost every player that's ever has coached like at the Pee Wee level to the professional level, like it spans far and wide. But the hard work and the loyalty isn't just something that you put on the wall, isn't just something that you hype your players up in the pregame. It is something that you live by.
Right.
And I think that you are one of the greatest testaments to that. I could talk all day long. I do have to ask, a couple roundup questions. One, talk to us about Coach Dick Dullahan and your relationship with Coach.
The best.
Yeah.
As a kid going to Butler football games with my dad and grandpa, and, big Butler fans, football or basketball.
Yeah.
And there was this little guy that was a running back, receiver type thing, and he was the quickest. I mean, he was unbelievable. And it was, it was probably a game against Evansville or something like that. And it was Dick Dullahan. Well, I don't know what I am in grade school, but I'm playing. He, leaves Butler, and he takes a job at Chittard High School. And so that's about the time that I'm going to Chittard High School as a freshman. And so he was an assistant coach, but he had that enthusiasm, as he said, enthusiasm unknown to mankind. But he was kind of that way. And I just, I remember, well, then I found out he was the uncle of some Chittard kids. By the time I get to be a sophomore in high school, he is now the head football coach at Chittard. He had been assistant for Carol Perica. Carol Perica was really got the program going. He went to coach in college. So Coach Dullahan is the first head coach. So anyway, I play football. I play basketball. I didn't really want to play baseball. I could have played baseball, but I wasn't a great baseball player. And so anyway, but I went out for the baseball team. And at lunch one day, Coach Dullahan comes up and kind of grabs me by the shoulder and he says, "Come here. What are you playing baseball for?" I said, "Well, all of my friends are playing baseball." He goes, "I'm going to tell you something, kid." He said, "You got a chance to be pretty good, but you got to get stronger. You're just, and you're not going to get stronger playing baseball." So I said, "Well, how do I do it?" He says, "Well, there's Hoffmeister's Gym downtown Indianapolis." And there was, and the Hoffmeisters were a Chittard family. Dad was one of the first weightlifting strength development kind of guy.
That checks out. That checks out so much.
So 3 days a week, school's out. Our guys are all going running around, and me and couple other guys are standing on the street corner on Kessler Avenue, pick us up and take us all the way down to the circle. And we went and lifted weights. Well, I couldn't lift a weight any more than I can this gadget right here. But anyway, what it taught was a work ethic.
Yeah.
That if you want to get something, you got to work. And you know, it was a great lesson for me. And in the long run, it was good for me because I played football and basketball. I had a chance in the spring and then the track. But it really worked out well, and it was something that was important.
And that was the start of your friendship with Coach Dullahan?
Well,
because you guys end up doing football camps for forever.
Still,
well, it was a family kind of thing. His younger brother was in my class. And was a football player. And Coach Dullahan, he probably was 25 years old at the time. You know,
and he's the head coach of Chittard?
Yeah, he was the head coach.
Good for him.
I know.
And I mean, we won a lot of games.
If there was a lesson that you learned from Coach Dullahan, from playing for him and coaching with him, do you have one?
He was a hard worker, and I don't know exactly how the phrase goes, but he was a hard worker, but he did it with great enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And you know, if you went to a camp or whatever, I mean, the guy's enthusiasm. He's still that way. He's still working football camps.
Mm-hmm. He was last summer. Like
he's as enthusiastic.
He was old 100 years ago. Like,
and he still can do the I love football jumping jacks perfect. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, he was an amazing guy, but he had a great impact on me.
Yeah.
And the other thing that he had a great impact on me was deciding to go to college. It was, you know, one of those things. What do you want to do? I said, I want to play in college. He says, what do you want to play? And I said, well, I want to play football and basketball. And he said, go to Butler. And I was like, I remember going home and, you know, when I had been a Butler fan and stuff, but I never thought of myself as being.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to do that.
We've come to the end of the show. We have a couple fun Indiana questions as we wrap up.
Okay.
The show is obviously all about the state of Indiana. The first question is brought to you by our friends at JC Hart. They're a leader in creating enjoyable living experiences at apartment communities all across Indiana and beyond. Check them out at homeisjchart.com. My question for you, Coach. You've been in Northern Illinois. You lived in Florida for a little bit there. You've spent most of your life in Indiana calling yourself a Hoosier.
Right.
Why do you call Indiana home?
Starts with my family and my wife's family. I mean, they were as Indiana as you come as well. You know, we moved around some for job purposes, but I think Linda and I always felt like we were going to end up back in Indianapolis. And we're a little stretching it to Muncie right now, but you know, that's because of family too. But
yeah,
it was always about family and what was going to be best when they were young. What was going to be best for us being able to do the things we want to do later in life, and the kids learn to adjust.
The people in the family that the people have in Indiana are spectacular.
Yeah,
Lexie, what is a lesson that you've learned from your grandpa?
Control what you can control. And that's actually a lesson that he learned from Bill Sylvester. We were talking about it in the car. He mentioned it in the podcast, but he's not a very anxious worrier. Like he worries about like his four walls, his family. But then in the games, like it would be easy if you're the head coach at IU and you're not doing very well or having the longest losing streak in college football, like you said at Ball State, to get all worried about what the fans are saying and all these other things. But he just controls what he can control, and that's his attitude and his work ethic and how he treats other people. And so, yeah, that's a big lesson that I've learned from him is just worry about what is truly important, and that is family and how you treat others.
Absolutely. As you traveled the state of Indiana, signing the greatest football recruits that the state had to offer, where was your favorite place to visit? Like if you knew you had a visit, you had to go recruit or go watch a football game somewhere, what place were you always excited to go check out?
I was going to go where my friends were.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of friends that, you know, became head coaches in high schools all around the state. And so on Friday nights when you got to go out recruiting, I generally, you know.
So where are a few of those spots?
Central Indiana.
Yeah.
I was a big Central Indiana guy because I grew up there. I would visit other parts of the state, you know, when there was a player, but I knew I could get guys out of Central Indiana.
Yeah. Where was your favorite place in Central Indiana to watch a Friday night football game?
The old stadiums in Indianapolis, I really like.
Yeah.
The old Broad Ripple and Arlington and
Well, I mean, Arsenal Tech downtown.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's a heck of a place. And
that's just our background. We never traveled anywhere. We went to Carmel one time. We got in that bus and we went. Hell, we thought we were going to Michigan. It seemed so far. And honestly, we lived within 465, and when I was a kid, it wasn't even 465. So we didn't travel too many places.
Yeah.
And so many of our friends, and my friends in the coaching profession were in Marion County. So Friday nights, that's kind of where I wanted to see my buddies coach.
Yeah, I love that. So obviously the bucket game in 2007, obviously that's like one of the most memorable experiences of your coaching career. Just in general, when you think of the battle for the old Oaken bucket versus the battle for the Monon Bell, what do you love? What are each rivalry? What do they bring to them? And which one, if you had to choose one of them as your favorite, which one?
Wabash DePauw.
Really?
Heard it here first.
Every
Why?
time.
Why is that?
It's a bunch of guys playing their hearts out that, and a lot of them they're never going to play again. It's their last game. That's just a really neat game. What I found is how important it is to the alums.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like arguably more important than the players.
It's not that way at Purdue, and it's not that way at IU. I mean, there's the handful, but even the faculty who don't have any interest in football per se, they know that's a big week.
Yeah.
And they want to be a part of it.
What would you tell the average Hoosier who's never been to a Monon Bell game? Why do they need to attend the Monon Bell game?
Because it's one of the really unique games in the country, I would say.
Yeah.
I think every state has that rivalry game or, whatever it may be and at the big time level. But for a given Saturday, there's no place where it's not more important to the guys playing in that game.
I mean,
and the fans.
Oh my gosh.
Because, again, that may be the only game they go to, but they go with the idea, I'm going to cheer for my team. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you've coached at every level, all through Indiana. Is the Monon Bell the greatest rivalry in the state of Indiana?
Percentage-wise, yes, because it's 100%.
Yeah, come on.
That old Oaken bucket game, there's a whole lot of people down there that don't know there's a football game that Saturday.
I would say at DePauw, at Wabash, 100%, the art students, the media students, the English literature majors, the alumni that are doctors, that are lawyers, that are business people, everyone knows that there is a rivalry football game going on in Greencastle or Crawfordsville.
Yeah.
It's a wild one.
It's amazing.
Wow.
And it's interesting, too, because I grew up playing Wabash DePauw in the old conference we had.
Yeah.
And they talked about it, and I'm thinking, well, when we play DePauw, there's nothing special about playing DePauw. We played Wabash, nothing special about that. And then when I was involved with the game, it was like, holy cow.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you went to the Monon Bell game?
I coached in it.
The first time you ever saw the game, you coached in it.
Yeah.
When they started, did they roll bleachers in at that point?
Yeah.
So you're like, what the heck are we rolling bleachers?
I was warned by the other coaches on the staff and all that.
Through all of your time coaching the Monon Bell game, is there a specific memory that sticks out to you? Like one that you will never forget?
We won the last game I coached, and I was getting older.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, I had been thinking, do I have the same enthusiasm and all that? And I remember the game's over and everybody's jumping in, and you kind of have to walk. And I walked off with Lyndon. I said, that's it. I'm not coaching again. And it was, I don't know what had been leading up to that, over a 6-8 week period or something.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be one of those guys that hung on and didn't do the recruiting and didn't do all the things it takes to be successful. Yeah. And if you want to, anyway, I remember that.
2019.
Was this the Chase Andrews to Gavin Ritter touchdown down the sideline?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, hey, let's go out on a high, baby. Come on.
Yeah, it was an amazing game.
Oh, and because we knew that he was likely going to retire after that game, my whole family, and I couldn't tell anyone. And so the Bell game, as a student, I was a sophomore at the time. I was like, of course, wanted to win for a lot of reasons. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, this might be his last game coaching. He can't lose his last game coaching.
And everyone else is probably like cheering and smiling. And Lexi's like crying.
Yeah, I'm like, he's done. Yeah.
Is there a specific memory of watching your grandpa on the sideline that sticks with you?
Probably him leaving the 2008 Monon Bell just afterwards.
The
2018 when we lost at Wabash and
Yeah.
he came out with the janitor.
Yeah.
Oh,
That wasn't him actually coaching, but just I feel like is really reflective of his character and who he is. So
All right. These are the final 3 questions that we ask every guest who comes on the show. First one. What's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
it's a great state, and the best place is Heritage Lake.
There you go. Okay,
that was gonna be the hidden gem.
this is where you get to uncover something that more people across the state need to know about. It could be a park, a restaurant, it could be a drive-in movie theater, anything. But what is a hidden gem in Indiana?
Watching a basketball game at Butler University,
Oh, Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Hinkle Fieldhouse,
Oh yeah. Okay. Daytime, nighttime.
nighttime.
Nighttime game at Butler, Hinkle Fieldhouse. That's a true. If you call yourself any sort of basketball fan, you need to go see a game.
Yeah,
Particularly when they're good and they're rocking and the place is
Yeah.
rocking. And, it's a night game on a weeknight and maybe the kids have been out hanging out a little bit before and they bring a little bit of rowdy in there. That place lights up. Finally, this is your chance to help enlighten us about someone else across the state who's doing big things, someone that we need to know about. Could be a future guest, could be just someone who you respect and love what they're doing. Who's a Hoosier we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things. Yes. Hyper. She's got her own podcast.
I know,
The Words of the Wise podcast.
and yeah, I think it's amazing.
I agree.
thanks.
If you do not follow Lexie on social media, you definitely need to. What you're doing with Words of the Wise, you can give a little bit of an overview for us?
yeah, so I interview people 60 plus about their life stories and ask for advice. But Nate and I have talked about this before, really just trying to get people to ask their grandparents questions and uncover those family histories and life lessons that are in there. They're hidden. Maybe that's my hidden gem is just the people around you. My grandpa has shared a lot with me, and I wouldn't know a lot of the things that I do now if I hadn't asked him questions. But my podcast, we just sit down for like an hour and a half.
And whether you listen to it for the content or you listen to it for the questions that you should be asking your grandparents, either way, you should listen to at least one episode, because I'm assuming most people, when you get to be 25, 26, 27, somewhere in there, you're like, wow, I'm not going to have my grandparents for forever. And I'm really going to wish I asked about that a little bit more than how the weather was for the 17th time this year. And, we sat down and you kind of like hang out at Christmas and you ask the same 4 questions and then you move on with your life. You're going to want to know, I don't know, what these impactful questions.
Yeah, but 1, they're interesting. And 2, I feel like the older generation sometimes don't feel like they have a lot of value to add, which is ridiculous because they've lived more lives than anyone. So just sit down, ask a couple questions about their high school years or when they learned how to drive, stuff like that.
Well, Lexie, I have to ask, from Muncie to Greencastle, now to Indy, what is your hidden gem in Indiana?
I would say Heritage Lake. I don't know how much of a hidden gem it is necessarily, but it's a private lake, just a short, 15 minutes from DePauw. But my grandparents got that lake house in 2004 when I was 4. So it's been around my whole life. And
Heritage Lake. Come
Heritage
on
Lake.
now. Coach Lynch, Lexie, thank you so much for coming on, hanging out today. It's been awesome recapping your journey. Oh my gosh. From Evanston Avenue
Yeah,
over to Butler.
really, it started 5758 North Ralston.
5758 North Ralston.
And then we made a big move.
What was a big move to?
It was about 6 blocks. I don't know.
6 blocks down the street.
But it was on the other side of 62nd Street.
Hey.
So it was a little dangerous to cross,
60. Wait, so you went, where were you at?
Right across the street from Broderpool Park.
You live in my backyard. Like
That's where you
I
live
live
now?
2 blocks, no, maybe 4 blocks away from there. I'm at 60.
I don't live there now.
Well,
but
no,
that's
not
where I
anymore.
grew
No,
up.
no, no. I live 4. So right across from Broderpool Park, south of there, south of Broderpool Park.
Where the woods are.
Yeah.
Off Evanston.
Oh,
You walk out the driveway and you walk right into the woods.
wow. I gotta go. I drive by this house every day, sometimes twice a day if I have to go leave home and come back.
yeah.
Wow, look at that.
still there.
That's incredible. Well, your journey from Broad Ripple over to Butler, Tarkington, to Illinois, down to Florida, back here to Bloomington, Muncie, Greencastle, all over Heritage Lake. You're a true legend across not just the football community, across Indiana. I know that there are countless players who would love to sit here and have this same conversation. I'm honored to be one of them that get to sit and talk with you. You've made an impact in countless lives of young athletes, future leaders, whether it was on the field, on the court, just in life in general. I've always appreciated the fact that Lexie hit the nail on the head. It didn't matter if you were the star or the water boy. You treated everyone with the same level of respect. And I know that tons of players, if you haven't yet, guys, reach out, tell Coach Lynch, and maybe share a favorite memory, a lesson an impact that he's made in your life. I got to share mine today. I'm lucky. I knew that the next time I saw you, I had to tell you about that and the impact that 2-hour drive one way made in my life. And I'm really, really honored and appreciative to call you Coach. So thank you. Also, shout out, go listen to Lexie's podcast. That's a wrap on this episode of Get In. I appreciate y'all for making the time. And obviously, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all my gear recommendations at Sweetwater. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.